All right, we are live for critique number 207, focus stacking, which was Troy Miller's idea, as is the next one, by the way. The next critique topic
We, we
is
don't know
also
the next
Troy
one.
Miller's fault. So that'll be good. We'll reveal that in just a second. Um, yeah, right. It'll be good. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. This one is focus stacking though, Troy, and you even did a little tutorial on how to focus stack and your sort of workflow around focus stacking.
Yeah.
What do you think of the submissions that we got in for this one?
I love the submissions that we got in. I certainly wish we would have had more. So I'm calling out all of you who didn't get your submission in. La Duderina is in the chat right now and says she's trying to prepare her image. So hopefully she can make that. But no, it's really good, and it's a really challenging skill if you haven't done it before. So it really makes you stop and think and go to work. And a lot of people don't have these in their library, which was kind of my purpose.
Right. Yeah, no harvesting. No harvesting of the images. You must create something entirely new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's an interesting technique. And it's interesting. One of the interesting things was how the various cameras, which I learned a lot about, just through the dialogue in the community about this
Right.
particular topic, was how different cameras handle it. Like Lumix cameras are all about the focus stacking, though. You can set the range, and it'll show you the
Right.
as it walks through the range. You see the focus peaking in there, and then it's doing all these shots that you predetermine the start and end, and how many shots you went in there, and it'll just do it, and then spit you out a JPEG and a RAW at the end of it, and then you take it
Yeah.
and go to town with it. And then some other cameras like Nikon isn't quite. I'm shooting Nikon too, and Nikon isn't that advanced. You can't set the beginning and the end. It's kind of
No,
like,
it's
there's my
lame.
subject, do it, right?
I gotta
Yeah,
say,
Lumix
I
is
gotta
so much
say,
better. Lumix and
yeah.
Sony, I think.
Camera manufacturers, I know you're listening. Put some amazing software in these things. I mean, my phone can do more.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
come on, it's software.
I know.
I'm sure there's like a 12-year-old sitting in Georgia somewhere in their basement writing code. Like, get them to do it. Like, they could do it. Something
Yeah.
creative.
I don't know. Yeah, we've been talking about this, and La Dunarita in the chat says the feed is stuttering. Anybody else in the chat, if you're having connectivity issues with us, let me know, and I'll see if it's on my side. But I mean, on TWiP, we've been talking about this whole idea of we're carrying around these highly expensive optical supercomputer instruments, that we have as cameras, and Apple's running circles around people with their computational photography and this small lens set and doing all this magic stuff in the phone. On the other side, Nikon, Canon, Panasonic, Fuji, Sony, etc., have these gigantic budgets, and they have this installed base of cameras that have powerful computers in them and sweet optics that you can put on them. Why not create some sort of app store that you could go download a focus
Yeah.
stacking app and have all kinds of cool superpowers after that, or whatever, even tutorials where you have like a Troy Miller in the corner of the screen saying, okay, now put your camera in this mode and do this. And,
Yeah.
it just seems like we should be there already. I don't know why we're not. It's interesting.
It's a deep rabbit hole of a conversation, but I do predict, because the entry level or consumer level cameras are the most popular cameras of all cameras, right?
Mm-hmm.
So building an app store, whoever builds the app store first in their camera, I think is going to go on to just dominate a market, because anybody who's got an iPhone-esque interface where you can download, a focus stacking app to run on their DSLR, that's the one everybody's going to be like, well, I'm going to buy it. That's the camera I'm going to buy. I'm going on vacation. I want it to be simple. I want it to shoot a pano for me. I want it to tell me when to move. I want, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and let the
Yeah.
pro cameras be pro. And, that's great. I don't need all that stuff necessarily, but I'll buy
Right.
one of those other cameras for my
It seems
my
obvious to me. I don't know. I mean, as complex as some photography techniques are, and unapproachable, like say astrophotography, It feels complex and unapproachable, but wouldn't it be great to have some assistance with that or automation within your device to take you through it? Not that I want it
Right.
automated and easy, but I want it feels like it's a missed opportunity to create a path of least resistance for newer photographers that then want to
Hey,
switch it to get a kickstart, right?
this bad boy right here, right? This
Hmm.
out of focus GoPro, right? I don't want to change the focus. I mean, it has built-in GPS. It keeps track of my speed and my G forces when I'm mountain biking or doing whatever. Like it's all in there. It's all embedded in the video.
Right.
My camera's not doing that for me. I'm not as happy as I could be. I'm pretty
Doesn't
happy
it?
with my
It
camera.
seems obvious. You know what I think? Here's what I think. Who is it that's coming out with that EV, the electric car this year that was announced at CES called the a Feel or something for whatever.
Yep.
But it's from what is it from Sony and some car I forget who it is, but it's a tech company and a car company that had a baby, and it's going to be this car that's released in 24, and
Yeah.
to compete with Teslas obviously and have all the things and whiz bang whatever's in there, and that's great. So I'm thinking, why can't we have that in the camera
I
industry?
know.
These put your peanut butter in my chocolate, and you look at it, and I'm thinking the camera industry seems like a space that's really, really ripe for disruption,
For
right?
innovation.
In
Yeah. Oh my
innovation.
gosh.
Like, what
Yeah.
if Apple just like, you know what, enough. We're just gonna go buy whoever, insert camera brand. We're gonna take
Right. Right.
a molecule of our multi-trillion-dollar market cap and buy that camera company, rebrand, make this next generation camera, put everything we've learned about iPhone photography in a proper pro camera, and make the ecosystem and put an app store up and the whole 9 yards. What's going to happen to the rest of the camera manufacturers after that? Is
See,
it like that
I just
happens?
think I just think they're afraid. I think top level, CEO level decision makers are like, that is a great idea, but not on my watch.
Right.
Because
We let the
they don't
next
want to be the new
administration
Coke.
do it.
Yeah, they don't want to be the new Coke. And I can't fault them for that. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes a brilliant, insane lunatic like Elon Musk or somebody like that with buckets full of money and nothing to lose to dive in and shake it up like that, right? If you got too many
yeah,
dependencies and we can't piss these guys off and we can't piss those guys off and this installed base wants it this way, if we shake it up, they're gonna get mad. You'll never get anywhere, right? You got to go in there and say, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. We're building what today's audience wants, and we're gonna put all the things in there, and we'll see what happens. But I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Hey,
I'm
I'm getting
wondering, the
crap.
dude
I'm getting
arena.
crap in the chat right now about not having an image in there. Uh, okay, I will. I don't have an image in there, but I will have one in there this week. Sorry. What's my excuse? It's been raining. Yes, it has been raining in Northern California. It's storming up here. Plus, we're dragging this monologue on to give Ladunarina some time to
Time to get
get
her
her image
image in.
ready. So let's talk about something. So anyway, let's
Yeah.
dive in, man. You ready? Are you?
Yeah,
By the
let's
way,
do
are
it.
you wet? Are you guys in the rain down there in Southern California like we are up here?
No, we haven't gotten rain the last couple days. Everything is wet. We did have, quite a bit of rain. Right now it's just kind of overcast and beautiful. So I love
Cool,
it.
cool,
Yeah, I went
perfect
on a
light.
mountain bike ride. Yeah, I did a mountain bike ride yesterday, and oh my gosh, the ground is that perfect texture. The grip is amazing. It's just, and it smells so good. I just love it.
Lovely, lovely. I like it. Yeah, California needs the water.
Yep.
Yeah, why not? Maybe we'll get some lush looking hills instead of the gray about to burst into flame hills that we normally
Yeah, for
have.
like 12 days. We'll get green for 12 days, and then it's
Right.
like,
Then it'll go away. It'll go away.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll take what we can get. All right, let's
Cool.
dive in. You ready to do this critique?
Yes, sir. I am ready.
All right, so here we are on the critique page, and let me just reload this just in case Karen got hers in.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
There we go. And I will reload again at the end, Karen.
Yeah.
let's start here with Eric Pronsky. He says, Orchid column, 17 images were combined to be able to get all of the column. That's what the reproductive center is called in focus. All right. Orchid
Nice.
porn. Look at
I
that.
love it. No, this is really cool. I love the composition of this right away because it's in nice and tight. It's nice and small, so it kind of gives us a sense of like a little bit more of an abstract type of shot. I zoomed in as much as I could on the web, of course, and the focus stack looks really nice. I don't see any weird artifacts in there, which is something that you can get in focus stacking. So it looks like it was stacked really, really clean, which one could be software, and it's also a combination of like how smooth your steps are to make sure that it's grabbing focus all the way through. So this one is really nicely done. My only suggestion is just like any photo, it's what's the quality of light on this one? The backlight is nice. I mean, I think the backlight is cool, but we need some light to light the front to give us some dimension, for the orchid. So I would have brought some light in from the front.
Yeah. Really well done. Cool. Very, very good, sir. All right, and I don't have any comments on that. I like this. I like this image, and I'm looking at it at face value, and I'm thinking, based on kind of the conversation we had when you were doing the tutorial, Troy. Like, and when we talk about retouching, it's if you can tell that someone's been retouched or that the
Right.
photographer leaves trails or traces in there, then you failed. And much, I think the same kind of thing applies, although maybe to a lesser degree, to focus stacking or any photographic technique, right? If someone says, "Oh
Right.
wow, great job on that focus stack,"
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Nice
kind of,
pano, but I see.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So you want to hide, your tracks should not be visible. Um, Very cool. All right, so let's move right along to the next shot. Nora's Anonymous, who was giving me crap in the chat for not having a shot in here, Nora. So I'm gonna be extra hard on this image.
As she
Unripe
should.
seed head. Look at that. I love that shot. She says, I should have picked something simpler for my first focus stack attempt. I found Helicon in Photoshop to be equally fast in rendering the image. Helicon C provided the best results, but there are still artifacts. I didn't have enough time to figure out editing in Helicon. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know how to do the editing in Helicon as well. It's been,
Helicon.
yeah, I think it's Helicon. It's been a while since I've used it, and I don't remember how to do the editing. So we're all kind of on that fresh page with that. Um, I love the image, Nora. I think that it's a fantastic choice. The texture, the detail. I don't think that you chose the wrong image. I think that choosing an image that challenges you and makes you work through it and maybe highlights the challenges within the technique itself is always good, right? Like, why go easy? So I think you did an amazing job here, and the fine detail all the way through to the tips and stuff of this seed head is just really wonderful. Um, of course, you can probably predict that I wish that all of the seed head was in the frame and
I
not
knew it.
cropped off at the bottom.
I knew it was coming. I knew it. I was counting. I was counting down.
Now, to kind of be fair, to speak to focus stacking, like a lot of times you might start off with your focus where the whole image is in frame, and then by the time you've zoomed through it and it's focused, you do get some breathing in lens breathing in the focus, right? So that the actually size of the image changes as you move through the focus. So there's a good chance that that's what happens. So you always got to give yourself extra space around your subject so that you have, once it's stacked, then you can crop it and have that. But no,
On
I,
a
I
shot
I
like
really
this,
like it.
yeah, me too. On a shot like this, she could easily just sort of extend the canvas, right? And to at least give the illusion that all of those little bits are in frame. And then I know, you'd have that horizontal line that looks unnatural at the bottom, but you can natural that up by just kind of going in and selectively, because it's on a whitish background, right? So you can
Hmm.
go in and kind of just make it look more natural by deleting some of the
Hmm.
little, the little tendrils in there. and then you'd have
Yeah,
it all. It's all in there.
yeah, you could. Yeah, you definitely could. Yeah, I have always loved these type of photos, of nature up close. Whether it's a seed or a pod or like the orchid. I always think that it's amazing because we look at these things and we see these beautiful details, like when they're big in a tree or something, and then you realize like there's even more intricacy, the finer details that you see the closer in you get, and then the closer in you get, and the closer in, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much
Hmm.
here. So
Yeah. Yeah, this is nice. I like this a lot. Again, remember what we used to say in the beginnings, the beginning year of doing this critique. Would this look good printed gigantic on a wall?
yeah,
And this
yep,
is one. Yeah, I could see people standing
yep.
there, looking at this giant print installation of these
Oh
seeds.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, like, very much like Eric's, is that think about the lighting in your subject. I feel like the front lighting, the lighting that we're getting, to us is like it's flat, right? The light that's actually hitting your subject is a bit flat, and I think that even just a little tiny LED light or like a light from your iPad or your phone or just any little bit of light falling in on this thing would really help the dimensions, especially in the center, because it is a little flat. I like the backlight. I like that edge light that's kind of coming in a little bit off the back side, but the
Hmm.
front is a little bit dark.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know what else would be interesting with this one? Not that this is not great, but like doing a full on black and white version of it would be interesting because there's not a whole lot of color in here anyway. I love the color that's in here. The browns and the warm kind of leads me into thinking this is a living thing, and it's seeds and all that. So the color does add to the photo in this shot, but removing the color would make it more of a graphic, right? So it
Right.
become more graphic. And then another implementation might be to go high contrast with it, like high contrast black and white, where you're losing a lot of detail and it just becomes about the shape and the form of this thing against the white.
Sure.
That'd
Yeah.
be interesting to see.
Yeah. It's definitely a neat subject. So good pick. I like it.
Hmm. Yep.
Well done.
Well done. Thank you, Nora. All right, next up is Paolo. Paolo says, I've started with landscapes, but never quite get a subject composition where a single photo at hyperfocal wasn't significantly worse or even better for that touch out of focus, giving depth and tridimensionally. Those are a lot of words. So I have switched to plain and simple macro. The one is titled, I love this title, by the way, for this shot. The one is titled Old Lady, stacked with the Helicon, from 96 photos into a single DNG, then processed in Lightroom, only grading and sharpness, no changes to the histogram. Each single photo was taken with a Fuji X-T4 f80 millimeter, or FX80 at millimeter, or FX 80 millimeter at f2.8 macro at f11 with manual set flash strobe off camera to the right and exposure set to push the contour to the black. 3 second pause between the shots to let the flash recharge. Cool. Really good description. Thank you. Given the subject, less than 2 inches by side, in framing, I followed the golden section spiral as an outline. That is interesting to me because I see very few images that use that golden spiral, as a
Hmm.
compositional element. Usually, we fall back on the rule of thirds or something like that. That golden spiral is amazing that he did that. Here it is, right here.
Yep.
Look at that, the old
Yep. I
lady.
really like it. My
Hmm.
my only look, Paolo, I've got to critique your description. The only thing that's missing is what music were you listening to when you edited this? Because I'm ready. I'm ready for a new album, and I've got to say, my friend, I'm hungry for that new album. So
Yeah.
um, I'm reading the chat. I love this image. I think the intentionality with it, the subtlety, the classicness of it is really wonderful. All the corners are perfect. Like we don't really have anything distracting us or pulling us out of frame. The lighting that's kind of coming in off edge is really just fantastic and showing us the Guns N' Roses. He says, um, the lighting coming
Perfect.
off to the side really highlights that texture, which I think was a perfect choice. Um, I think for me, and I've zoomed in on it on screen, I think for me, I would zoom in. I think I would
Hmm.
punch in till you fill the frame with all rose petals, and it becomes less obvious exactly what it is. I think it's obvious enough, but it's also it kind of really, like, you're diving deeper into this subject, and I think that the textures and the colors and things that are going on in there are just wonderful. I mean, even more so the closer you get. So if you printed it large, you would kind of get that benefit as well. So
Yeah.
well done. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it too. I know. I was thinking Troy's looking at this image, and Troy's gonna say, "Yeah, great image," and it's almost ready to be lit on fire and photographed.
Well, there is that. Yeah, they do burn good.
Yeah, those burn good.
Yeah. Um, it's not something to point out, Paolo, is that I can see where you burned in the background on the right. The shadowing that you put on the edge of the rose petal itself, it doesn't look natural. It looks like you've burned that down. If it's natural, then I would fix it anyway, so it doesn't look as, artificial. But when you burn down a subject, it tends to change the color saturation, and it looks like the colors that are in there, they went a little bit blue. Um, so what I would do is that top right corner, that edge that goes into shadow, I would take out that blue tinge so that it was more of a gray, if that makes sense. Oh, he said
Yeah,
it's 100% natural. Well, I would fix it, but I love it.
yeah, yeah. Really cool shot. Yeah, and I agree with you on the punching in thing. Just sort of to we always talk about is the space outside supporting the main character, right? And I think what we're getting at is the entropy taking over this rose here, and what does that look like, right? And punching into it would show that more. And these pixels out here, if each pixel cost you, $5, would we have these pixels out here? I don't know.
Right. Right. No, and I can see where you're going with this, Paolo. I can see the fact that, like, oh, I want to keep the right side of the rose in, the rose petals, like that edge is super important. I think that that's really wonderful. Um, it's just, for me, that top right corner, that blackness that's up there, it's great, but it feels a little bit unnatural. Like, it doesn't need to be there, which is, I think, what Frederick is pointing out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but we're talking, like, you've got a 99% amazing image. We're talking about that 1/2 of 1% maybe.
yeah,
When there's
yeah.
not a lot to pick on, you got to find something.
It's 1/2 of 1% heavily marinated in subjectivity, right?
Yes, yes,
So and
yes,
several grains of salt on the side.
yes. And I wish
So
it was my image, because it's way better than my image. So,
yeah, yeah, we'll get to that one.
oh no, yeah, we can skip mine.
Oh, and he
After
says at the
Palos.
end, Paulo says, "Oh, I have to say, I love this image. Thanks, Troy Miller." There you go.
Nice.
And speaking of Troy Miller, diamonds on a
Oh.
blanket.
I figured if the image isn't amazing, you got to come up with a fun title. Um,
This is kind of
this
amazing,
was
isn't it?
a I like this stuff.
It's like little universes and bubbles.
Well, what's so interesting about macro is that it's hard to get a perspective of up and down sometimes. So this was a water droplets on a spider web that was, like, laying flat. Okay, and then when I focus stack it and I pulled out this section that I really liked, it feels like it's almost like inverted. I don't know.
It
It has
does.
sort of an Escher-esque sense to me. So I just really like the abstracty, make you think kind of things.
Yeah,
So
it does. It definitely does make you think. Because I look at this and I'm thinking, my first thought was, yeah, I kind of grok that this is liquid of some sort. But then I was looking at it and I was thinking, man, it looks like the universe or a universe or a representation of the multiverse, where each one of those bubbles has its own universe in it, its own reality and its own set of physics and all that. And off camera, these go off into infinity, right?
Right.
And this is your representation of it. Yeah, I thought it was good. So you're on your processing of it. I love and maybe it's my display, but I see it's obviously monochrome, but it feels a little bluish. Did you
Yep.
bring blue into it just a little bit just to cool it down some?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see
Very,
that.
very much on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably 100 images to stack this.
100. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Because when you do a focus stack, the one thing you have to consider is how big a steps it takes going through the focus, right? And because I knew that I had spider web between the water droplets and they were stacked on top of each other, there's a depth in there. I had to get all the spider webs, right? All the little threads. And that just means I have to take little itty bitty tiny movements in the focus. So I think the whole thing was like 300 images or 400 images. And so this is actually just a section out of it to grab this part.
And are you tripod or handheld?
I'm tripod, of course.
Okay, just making sure. I don't know. During your little tutorial, you were saying, "Oh, well, you can handheld these easily. Just use the auto
Yeah,
align layers or whatever."
you might. I mean, you might be able to if you're really good at it. I don't see why not. But on a scene like this, and I only got to do two. I only got to try two images because then the wind kicked up, and then I couldn't do it anymore. So
Hmm.
I was pretty stoked, which is neat too because I shot through a whole range, which means I can go back and kind of pick the range that I want to render and only render that section of the stack. I don't have to render the whole thing.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, and so here's an inside baseball question: Is this natural, or did Troy bring a spray bottle out there for an assist? Because like Paulo in the chat says, never seen a spider
Mm,
web catching that much water. That's true. What kind of spider made this web? I want to know.
no, it's 100% natural. No, it's
Wow.
yeah, it's actually sitting in God, I can't think of the kind of the plant that it is, but they create these like these little hammock webs. So they're really dense and it's like a hammock and it literally just holds a ton of water. And I look at them every day. I walk past them every day when it's wet.
Mm,
And I'm like, oh, I should photograph that. Then I don't because I'm busy. And
right.
this day I
Right.
went, yeah, I'm going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you may have said this. I may have missed it. What lens did you shoot this with, and on what body?
Z9 and a 105, the Z105 macro.
Oh, the 105 macro. Yes.
Yeah.
It's another object of my desire. I want that thing.
Oh yeah, it's right here. It's within reach. It's sitting right here on my desk as
Can you just drop
always.
that whole thing off at the UPS store and ship it up to me? I'll send it back in a couple of years. That's good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How
Come on
about
by.
no?
Come by, pick it up.
Yeah, I should. Yeah. All right. And Karen says she's probably not going to have hers done by the end of this. That's fine, Karen. Just throw it in the community and we'll look at it then. Just double checking. Nope, that's it. All right, Troy. You have a favorite this time around?
I,
I
I
I have mine
do.
on the
I do.
screen. Let's see if ours match. What's your favorite?
My favorite is Palos.
Really? See, I
Yeah.
had picked Nora's. Not that
Well,
Powell's wasn't amazing, but maybe it's the simplicity. I like the simplicity of just this one life form sitting there on the screen and
yeah.
it's showing the beauty of what nature creates. But that's what Paulo's did too. So you're absolutely right.
Well,
So
when it in a competition setting, this is kind of where my brain goes when I have to pick between like two images. So in a competitional type setting, I'm thinking, okay, they're both amazing images. They're both perfect in a lot of senses. What is imperfect in my sense, or what is wrong with the image?
mhm.
And in Nora's, the image is cut off on the bottom. That's that's a
Yeah,
big
but in
takeaway.
fairness, this one's cut off on the top. So
It's not. It's not almost barely kind of cut off and it doesn't affect the quality of the image where Nora is having just the tips of those strands like she's almost there and then they're cut off like in an image competition I promise you that is exactly what happens.
I may have to do an executive override on this one, Troy.
You can
Okay.
obviously. I mean, you
Oh,
could be wrong.
yeah, exactly. You can be wrong, but you can do it, right? Just like regular government. No, I think you're right. Well, we always do when we have a split like this. We do both. So
Yeah,
both are
that's fair.
both are winners. Great job, though.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah.
For the next critique, which is coming up, and that'll be critique number 208. 208. Oh my God, getting old.
I know.
That'll be on the 23rd of January. And you have an idea for a topic. I'll let you throw that out there.
Well,
Set that up.
I asked Frederick in the chat. I said, "What do you think if we did video as a topic?" And then he says he didn't think very many people would participate. So we're
Yeah.
not doing video.
Yeah. Well, we could. So sound off in the chat here, in the chat, the live stream chat. Like, how many of you think that we should do a video, or would you participate if we did a photo critique that was video based? And first of all, Troy, you have to define what that means. Like, what is video? Just like something you take a photo of, you're just gonna roll video on it, or is it a story that they have to tell? Like, what is the video?
they're like, no,
See?
no video.
Exactly, Paula. See? Yep. Yep, exactly. Well, you didn't say video of yourself. This isn't like you. It's of a subject. But just, I'll let you describe it. What are you thinking?
To be fair, I am not a videographer like Jeff or anybody else. Like, I am not a videographer. However, video has really changed kind of like the way that I look at my photographs. Like, learning how to video something makes me think about how I might photograph it, right? And so, like doing a focus stack or having an object that you might want to focus stack, or let's say it's a coffee cup, right? And you want to put steam on it and everything. Well, instead of just photographing it with the steam, just shoot a 3-second video clip with the steam moving, and then you stop, right? Almost maybe like a live photo. When a lot of people think of video, they think of like, oh, I've got to shoot, like a 20-minute or a 10-minute or even a 5-minute thing. And it doesn't have to be that way. Think about like going out and photographing the ocean, or you're going to do a long exposure of the clouds. Like, shoot a video, 2 minutes of the clouds just blowing by. Like, that's art. That's amazing right there. So
yeah.
But
Paulo
we're
has a
not
point.
gonna
We're not doing that.
gonna
Paulo,
do
as
that.
he says, his camera doesn't even shoot video. So
My camera doesn't take videos.
all right, so
my
let's do
God.
this. This was my idea. I was like, why don't we let the AI determine what our next photo critique is going to be? So I'm going to share this chat GPT here. And what should my query be, Troy? I'll let you do the query.
Just type it in exactly that. What is the next topic for a photo critique?
Okay.
What's the next photo critique topic?
So I'll generate 5 topics, and then we can pick from that. 5 for, let's say, photo contest.
And I do have an alternate topic that I think would be really interesting.
Okay.
But
Let's see. Oh, error occurred.
AI
I always have that
failed
tab
again.
open. Let's say generate 5 topics for a photo contest. Go. All right, here are 5 possible topics for photo contest. Nature's beauty. All right. Hope you're watching this chat. You're going to have to help us pick.
Culture.
Cities and culture. I like it. Not bad. Portraits and people. All right. Not bad. Still life and objects. Okay. I'm happy so far. And action and adventure. All right. With a description. This is that annoying kid. This chat GPT is the annoying know-it-all kid that sits in the front row in school and has all the right answers. And instead of like just generating a list, like, 5 topics, this kid had to generate the topics and a short description about each
Right.
for extra credit. All right. What do you think? What do you think of these, and what was yours, Troy?
Well, those are kind of mundane. I think our group is much more challenging than that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, kind of building off of the focus stacking thing, I was gonna say a panoramic. And Yeah, so when a lot of people think of panoramics, you think of like Mark Shred or big landscapey kind of things. But every one of these subjects that we photographed could have been technically a pano of some sort, right? You could have put 9 images together of the seed head, and then built those,
Mm-hmm.
or just do a really long narrow image of a number of images stacked horizontally. So it could be something small, it could be something big, could be a landscape, could be macro, could be whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Let's do panorama.
Yeah.
I mean, we could save these. I mean, we can always generate these, but yeah, I like the I instead of the AI. Let's go with the
And you can
HI.
combine it with stacking, right?
I was gonna
So
say that. Yeah, like down the road, we should do that. Like start crossing the streams, focus stacked, a focus stacked panorama where you're basically creating a three-dimensional grid, right? Where I
yeah.
need, 30 shots of each thing that's gonna be put together and then merged and do all the things and see what you come up with. That should be interesting.
That, yeah, Ladunarine is asking, does it need to be cropped? Cropping doesn't make it a pano. We're talking about multiple images here. So um, maybe pano isn't the right word. I don't know what the word I'm thinking of is, but you can shoot an image like a gigapixel image where you've photographed something and you've used like 9 or 12 or 20 images, and they stitch all those together and make one giant image that has multiple resolutions. You can do it horizontally, you can do it vertically, um, you could do all kinds of things with that. So
Yeah.
and everything that we've already shown, everything that we've already photographed could be enhanced by these techniques, which is kind of what I'm leaning into,
Hmm.
right? Instead of going and standing in a field and be like, oh, that's beautiful, or here's a flower, and going click, like, oh, maybe I should focus stack that. Or maybe I should make this out of like multiple images and bring them together so I have better resolution, and then I can crop in, and I can do more with it, right? Like, think
Yeah.
about what we can do with that technology.
Yeah, because you're saying like the panorama, and Nora says stitched image instead of a pano. Yeah, because
That's
clarify
better.
that because a panorama is a single row, or it could
Right.
be multiple rows, but it is to show a wider angle of view. Where I think part of what you may be referring to is a gigapixel, where you're shooting basically multiple row panoramas and taking those and then putting together, so you basically have a giant grid that it equals a gigapixel image,
Yeah,
right?
Nora pulled the term right out of my head, because I could not think of stitched as I'm trying to explain it, but basically stitching images together. Absolutely, yeah. We'll call it stitching images, right? Stitched images instead of a pano.
Okay,
You could
stitched
stitch them
images.
into a pano if you want to, or you could stitch them into a gigapixel style. Um, and Photoshop and I believe Affinity. I'm almost certain Affinity does it as well. So it should be something everybody can do.
And some of our jokesters, like say Craig Stamfley, is going to take this topic stitched image. We're going to get photos of stitches or something. Someone getting stitches in the hospital or something. But
Yep.
which is fine. But the spirit of this is to take multiple images and combine them, and
Right.
stitch them into a single whole. It could be
Yep.
interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting.
It can be very interesting, and it's often, even for me, knowing about these techniques and even teaching them, and sort of being versed in them. I'll be out in the world photographing something at a national park in a beautiful sunset, and I don't I forget. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have shot, a panel with that. Like, but I didn't. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
we need
Yeah.
to embrace those tools, I think, a little bit better to expand our creativity and our ability to capture things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even with the iPhone has a whole panel mode, which is creating stitched images, right? Which is great. That mode, I mean, it's magical. I haven't even used it lately. I used it maybe a year or so ago, so I'm sure it's probably even better now. But I remember, where was I?
Insane.
I was in Vietnam. I was in Vietnam in Ho Chi Minh City taking photos of this weird looking skyscraper, and I did a vertical panorama of it. You ever done that, Troy, where you do a
Yep.
vertical? Yep.
I'm shooting a pano right now. I'm going to shoot a pano of my desk right now as I'm
Oh my
doing
god.
this.
Oh my god.
There we go.
I like that phone case. I need that phone case. Yeah.
Yeah. It turned out good. I have a very messy desk. I need to clean my desk.
Yeah. You can't share that. You got all kinds of classified stuff out there. Well, cool. All right. So our next topic will be stitched image. Thank you, Nora, for the clarification. So
Yep.
stitched image, and our favorites for this week were provided by Paulo and Nora, and those will be on the site. Very
Yep.
good. Very good. Anything else you want to throw in there before we end this one?
I think that's it. No, I think we're doing good.
Yeah. What are you up to this week? It's the first work week, the first week of the year. What are you up to? Anything special?
What am I doing? I have pottery tonight, and I have to move my vehicles on Wednesday because the street cleaner comes by.
Good.
And
Clear those drains.
that's that's it. I just have a bunch of personal stuff to do here. We're rebranding and we're doing our website and putting
Cool.
up new images, and just kind of getting ready for the next season
Next
of work.
phase.
So
Yeah.
yeah, installing a new server and all that kind of stuff.
Here's the big question. The your Christmas decorations. Have you taken them all down yet and put them away?
Yeah, on the 26th.
You're like, get that crap out of here. I'm safe
It's
for another
done.
360 days. I'm good.
Except I do have over here, you can't see it, but I have a little green LED Christmas tree Kira bought me like 8 years ago. It's plugged into a USB thing, and it's got like three more LEDs left on it. They keep going out every couple of years. So
Keep it going. Keep it going. Yeah, all mine are down. All mine went down yesterday. So, I like to do it a couple of days after New Year's, but you can't go beyond like half of January. It's gotta be gone. Like most of my neighbors here have their lights up. They still have all the crazy animals in the yard and everything. They're lighting them up. The smart ones don't light them up anymore though. So it's still out there. I just don't turn them on.
yeah,
So.
yeah.
All right, enough of that
All
chit
right.
chat. We'll leave it right there. Troy Miller, thanks again for your expert
Yep.
opinion. And thanks for everybody who participated in the chat and everybody who submitted images. And good luck on next week. Stitched images. Stitched
And Frederick
images.
is going to actually have an image this time.
I 100%. I'm gonna have what do you call it? A focus stacked image as well because I know
Yay!
I'm in the hole on that. I made that promise, and a promise is a promise. So I will get that done. I try very hard not to ever break a promise. So I'll have that done, and I'll have a stitched image as well. I may do both of those
Awesome.
today. I was gonna grab the camera and head up to Sacramento and do some shots of the water damage, go into kind of street photographer photojournalist mode, get some shots up there of the water insanity. Tim Ingle sent me a shot of his backyard, and his little man hut back there is like sitting in a puddle of water, like in a lake out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I got to get some shots before the water recedes. It's supposed to rain again tonight though, so I don't think there's any danger of that. So.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Thank you for participating, and we will see you, those of you who choose to accept your mission, we will see you on Friday at the member mixer. If you're not a member of the TWiP community, you know what to do. Just head over to community.thisweekinphoto.com and sign up. All right, folks. See you later. See you,
All
Troy.
right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.